Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am Reaper, and today we're looking at the Merkava Mk3D, which is absolutely beautiful. I don't care who you are, I don't care what you say, this tank is beautiful. Now, I fell in love with the Merkava Mark 1, and unfortunately I did not get the Merkava Mark 2B. I missed the event, and I'm very sad about that because I really want to make sure I lock down this Merkava Mark 3, and I really wish I could have the entire lineup, just 1 through 3, and eventually you know they're going to add the 4. I really want to have all 4. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to get the Mark II. The Merkava Mark III is awesome. Now, it still has obvious weak points. It still has some issues, but certain gameplay decisions will work around that. And I'll show you today in a couple of clips that this tank can be used to a good effect. And I'm not even showing you games where I just got super lucky and got 8 or 10 kills. These are like average games where I feel like you can be impactful with the tank but not be overpowered. This tank is not useless. Don't listen to people. It's not garbage. Its armor is not the top tier. We all know that. But its engine still eats up shells. You can see right there. Oops, sorry. That engine is still going to eat up shells. The only downside is even if it does eat a shell, your gun is most likely going to go down. When that engine gets hit, it's probably not going to one-shot you, but you're probably going to lose either your loader, your gunner, your turret drive, or your cannon breach along with it. So you will survive, but unless you have teammates able to help you out and remove the threat, you're probably going to get shot a second time before you ever get a returning shot off. So yes, it's survivable, but you have to have answers to whoever took that shot, right? Now, you might get lucky. Depending on the shell, it might just take out your engine. But more often than not, it's going to take out your gun as well. Now, lower glacis, no bueno, right? We know that's going to be an issue. Okay, you got your fuel tank there, but it's still just going to take out all this stuff like we mentioned earlier. If they shoot the right side, it's going to be an easy ammo rack, okay? But the turret's actually kind of trolly. There's a lot of weird angles here, and we all know angles end up trolling people. I've been hit right there in that optics port, right there, and I've actually survived where it did nothing, and I've also had it to where getting hit right there took out my loader, gunner, and commander all at once. Obviously, that's a one-shot because then you've only got your driver. But this thing can troll. It can do pretty well, especially at range, and those are the types of games I'm going to show you today. I'm playing this more like a British tank where you want to stay hull down because yes, you can take a hit or two to the hull, but it's not ideal. Taking hits to the turret is a little more, honestly, survivable. Survivable? One thing I can only compare this to the Mark 1 in front of me. I could go pull the stats for the Mark 2, but I mean, this is a fair, I know it's a different battle rating, but I think this shows the differences pretty well. You do have 1 degree less of gun depression, and that's actually noticeable. Like, it's something I noticed right away playing the tank. I was like, why does this thing feel like I can't aim down to save my life? I didn't realize it was only 1 degree because it felt like more than that. You might not notice it as much, but when I was trying to work with hull down positions, it was really noticeable. The hull armor is, once again, this pretty much the same. Your turret armor is a little thicker, but don't count on it, but understand that you do have a lot of angles that can protect you and troll some guns, especially if they don't know where to shoot, which most people don't know where to shoot yet. So right now is a really good time if you can get the event vehicle as soon as it becomes available. Like, as soon as, if you're grinding really, really hard and you get it as soon as possible, that's going to be your best time to play it because people will not have learned where to shoot the turret. Okay. The reload is decent. I don't have a maxed crew, as you can see, because even though I've been playing for years, I refuse to put lots of money into crew. I just won't do it. Okay. The best thing about this tank, hands down, this right here. That penetration is fantastic. At 1,000 meters, you still have 600 millimeters of pen. You will notice it, okay? You will notice how good that is. Oop, I didn't realize that wasn't there. Go ahead and, whoa, 30, I guess. The laser warning system does work. I've only seen it a couple times, but it's happened. So you're gonna know when you're getting lit. The mobility, definitely a lot better than the Merkava Mark 1. Huge improvement, but you're still not very, very fast when you compare yourself to other quick top tier MBTs. Okay, it's something you're gonna notice, and that's another reason I don't think you should be brawling. Yes, you can take a hit. Most likely, you will not be able to return fire quickly like the Russians do. The Russians will take a hit and then get a shot off anyways, and most likely kill you if you didn't take out their gunner or cannon breach in the first shot. Unfortunately, when this thing takes a hit, it's more than likely had its cannon breach removed. So you're not the best at brawling. You're better at sniping. You've got a very good high pen round. You've got decent velocity on that round. You've got good optics. You've got good thermals. It works as a sniper, especially a hold down sniper. So let's go ahead and get into some gameplay, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so Tunisia. Not my most favorite map in the world, but I thought I could get into an early game position and kind of work this hold down strategy. Right here, I was freaking out because it was the first match in over 6 or 7 games, where I wasn't playing with Orange Fan. It was so weird today. Me and Orange Fan were in 6 or 7 games together, and it kept putting us in a squad. And then I think a couple of those games had Benny V in there as well, all testing out the Merkava Mk3D. So it was kind of a fun day. Orange is a fantastic player, and so is Benny. I actually got I felt a little embarrassed today playing with him because I'm nowhere near their skill level. But up here, I'm moving up to this hill thinking, okay, if I can get into this position relatively quickly, which is actually much quicker than the Merkava Mk1 if you pay attention to how quickly we're moving uphill and getting to this position. I thought it'd be pretty quick and try to get some shots on some guys early game hiding behind this rock using majority of the cover. Right there we took a hit to the engine, right, just like I said. Luckily this time my gun wasn't taken out right away, which was very surprising. Follow-up shot, gun still up. Managed to get a return fire and pop smoke and start repairing. I really thought I was going to go down here, which somehow didn't happen. But I figured, got really lucky. But what makes more sense is it's a newer vehicle. People still don't know exactly where to shoot it to one-shot it. We all know 10.3, higher than 10.3, and even 9.0 and above, you can pretty much one-shot anything if you have the right shot. I have one-shotted many T80s, T72s with this thing with lower glacius shots. It's all about knowledge of where to shoot the tanks. Now, I'm not the best at that either. There are certain tanks, and leopards give me trouble, which is kind of funny. Certain leopards, can't speak today to save my life. Certain leopards give me trouble because I think they're a different version, and I go for a nice turret shot, not realizing it's a different version, maybe an A5 or whatever, where, the turret's impenetrable. I try to get some return fire on here, realize not really worth it. I'm doing pot shots, and I'm aiming through a tree. There goes my driver again. But that's 3 or 4 shots I've taken and not gone down, which is saying something at this battle rating. If this was 4.0, 5.7, I wouldn't blink an eye. But at this battle rating, taking 3 to 4 shots and not dying, it's not that bad. Now, if they had better knowledge, I would have been dead. But I think the little bit of cover I had there was keeping them a little confused, or at least panic shotting. They didn't want to take the time to sit there and aim because they don't know. They don't know what the capabilities of this tank are yet. And this freaking AA behind me kept confusing the piss out of me. I kept thinking I was getting shot from behind, because you wouldn't believe how many games today I've gotten shot from our own spawn by Romos or Racket and Yagpan. What is it called? Racket and Yag. German wheeled vehicle. No idea how to say that thing. But so I figured I'd just go ahead and move, get out of dodge, let the rest of the team that's pushing through A deal with that. And I really like this route around mid-game on this map. Going down the river can be really beneficial, just not early game. Early game, everyone's looking here if they manage to push up and get a good flanking position. But later on, people forget about it, or if they don't see people pushing up, they just don't keep looking at it. And I'm a big believer in looking around constantly. You'll notice this in my gameplay. I'm always trying to look around and cover my flanks, even if I'm exposed, and it doesn't really matter if I see them before they kill me. I just want to look around and try to get as much information as I can. And I didn't want to push out here because that entire backline ridge is a sniper's heaven. And going against the Russians, which we are, they could very well be sitting back there using that ridge. I wasn't sure. And I have a bad habit that I'm trying to break myself out of pushing around a corner without really checking things out first. A lot of the times when I'm playing Americans, I just get ballsy and push around corners and get one shot, which is just a terrible habit to have. I recommend, if you can manage to break yourself of it, do it, because it is. I'm still working on it. Like, I'm not even that good at not doing that, especially when you have third-person capabilities like we do in War Thunder. Why not just peek around the corner first, then move? I gotta learn to do that, especially when the game's going in our favor and we're getting cocky. We push up and they're just holding positions, which is smart. That's exactly what you're supposed to do if you're getting overrun. Instead of counter pushing, which makes no sense if you're on the decline, hold your position, wait for arrogant pushes like I tend to do. Right here, I went around the right side of the rock because the last he saw I was moving left. I figured he thinks I'm going to keep following that water, go around to the right, and that's exactly what happened. I caught him unready to fire on me again. So I'm just going to push into the middle of the map. This is actually a pretty arrogant push right here. I admit it. After I pushed up the river, I didn't really know if I should turn back to the A side of the map and push that spawn, because we already had teammates going that way, or if I should carry across to the other spawn, which is actually the more common late game spawn for teams that are losing. You just tend to see them spawn on the northeastern corner of the map a lot more than the northwestern corner. And I think because it's got a little more cover from spawn campers, there's a couple different directions you can come out of the spawn as well. So it tends to be better to cover that spawn more than the northwest spawn. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Still covering all my directions as best I can, looking around. I know it seems cheesy, but use those thermals to your advantage. If they're going to put them in the game in every top tier vehicle, use them. There's no reason not to use them. And I'm thinking that I'm going to see someone. There they are. I was actually expecting to see someone below me in this little ravine, this little wadi here, because I have been killed dozens of times late game, pushing across the map, and there's like an Object 906 or a BMP3 just chilling in this ravine for like 20 minutes, literally doing nothing but guarding that position. I'm not defending that gameplay, but it has caught me off guard multiple times. You might be able to do the same late game. If you're getting pushed, just hunker down in that ravine. You're going to catch somebody, usually me. I heard that shot there, and I figure, okay, easy lower glaciers. That bush trolled the crap out of me. I really thought that was a lower glacier shot, and it was actually upper. So, or upper mantlet, whatever you would call it. Lower mantlet, upper mantlet. I don't care. I really don't care. I figure, okay, follow-up shot. Maybe I'll get a ricochet inside. No, straight through. And this is where I really made a mistake. I have fired twice in the open without effect. I should have gotten out of dodge. Gepard got me. Next game, we're in Ardennes, and this is not a fantastic game. This is just something I wanted to show where if you can get into a decent position, you can actually have a pretty good effect, but I managed to really whiff my positioning because of a bit of a panic, and I want to show you what not to do. So in this position, or in this map, I really like to push either up to B on the left-hand side for this spawn, or if you're on the other spawn, pushing up to the back side of B, because both sides have a bit of debris that you can use for hold down positions, because this map is not fantastic in this setup for the Merkava or the British tanks who like to hold down snipe. So you got to work with what you got. You don't want to go in there and brawl with leopards or whatever else is on the enemy team on that given game. So finding a hold down position is actually really important on this map because it's really difficult, and when you do find one, there's certain ones that can have a really good effect. And next to B, man, it's on the main road, and I'll get there in a second. There's a bit of debris that is perfect for the Merkava, as well as the Vickers Mark 7, the Challenger Mark 2, Mark 3, things that tend to be... Now, the Challengers are a little tougher because their turrets aren't that great either. The Vickers tends to do pretty good hold down. So we're pushing straight through. The good thing is we get people in front of us that are going to keep us covered a little bit. We're not going to be the first thing to be engaged if we do get caught out. You don't want to lead in this position. You don't want to be the one going for hold down cover, because that exact thing right there happens. So I went ahead and dove over here just because I wasn't sure what the situation was yet. I wanted to get eyes on before I made a decision. Once I realized that it wasn't a massive wall of enemies in front of this American tank, I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and push up, get to that cover. Because what's going to happen is this side of the map tends to bulldoze through on the first push, but then the counterattack comes. So I wanted to get up here, hold this position, and then wait for the counterattack. Had a leopard right there that I did not want to brawl. I didn't want to hide behind him, but I'm reloading, and you know, I'm actually a pretty easy shot if he decides to shoot me. So leopard's down. Let's go ahead and take a position, make sure we're not getting pushed on the right hand side, because this map is so easy to flank on. Every corner is 90 degrees, and every 90 degrees is a potential flank. Especially when I should have checked my left a lot better here. I did it right there for a second, but then I saw that we had a friendly up on the top left above me who was going to dissuade flanks on that side of the map. People are more likely to flank to my right on the southeastern side of the town. I don't want to go out and hold down on the outskirts of the map in the fields. I'm going to see 1, maybe 2 tanks in the game, maybe if I'm lucky. Most people are going to go in the city and they're going to brawl for the majority of the game. This is where I made my mistake. I noticed someone pushed into B, and I figured, okay, instead of waiting for that counterattack, which did come, by the way, I should go try to help my team. And I was kind of like, you could tell I was torn. I was like, should I help? Should I not? I made the decision to help, unfortunately. Now, I did get a kill out of it, but you can see where I make a major mistake. The reason it took me so long to kill that guy was because there was a friendly name above his head that was behind him, really, but I wanted to make sure. I start going into B and thinking, okay, this guy's still on B. He just capped it. Let me double check. Yep, not capping. He's still there. So I know he's going to be to my left. And right there, there's smoke. Okay, so he's in the smoke behind this building because he's nowhere else on B. I'll just wait. And right here, you're going to see what's called a pro gamer move. I fired my shot because I thought I was holding down my free camera button towards the smoke. And I wasn't. So when he came out and fired, I reaction fired. And that was a huge mistake because I easily could have taken him out if I had actually held the button like I thought I was. But here I am, at this leopard's mercy, no teammates around to help. I should have held my position for a little while longer. I could have backed up, turned my gun around, shot the guy that was on the main street, but that's not what happened. So this is the main clip I think is really going to show you guys the capabilities of the Merkava at long range on maps I don't like. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like this map because it's so many open fields with slight rolling hills. It's just boring to me. I mean, everyone sits in the back of their spawns pretty much. Snipes, okay. Maybe 1 or 2 caps. And then lots of helicopters. I'm just not a huge fan of the map. But I figured, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to get into this hill that's in between B and C. It's got a little bit of a ridge that actually helps hold down tanks a good bit for this map. There are obviously better positions. But for this map, it's actually a pretty decent hold down position. So I want to get there. I like shooting down things. I'm sorry, sue me. I like watching the power lines disappear when you shoot them. If I can get to a hold down position, I figured, okay, I can do some basic sniping, maybe take out a couple guys before they get me. I really assumed I was going to get maybe 1 or 2 kills in this game, or maybe 1 kill, honest to God. I thought 1 kill, and then everyone's going to turn and shoot towards my cannon smoke. I'll go down. Because I wasn't aware of the potential of the turret to troll people until this game. Like I said, this is not a top tier game where you're getting 10 kills and look how good this tank is. This is like an average game where you don't play at your best abilities, but this tank is so decent that you don't get horribly punished like you can. Now, maybe there's an argument that the other skills players was not the best either. But here's where, this is that ridge I was talking about. My hold is pretty far down. I whiff a shot, haven't taken a shot yet, and I see this entire team moving. If I had been better with my first shot, I could have moved on to a second target, but I wasn't. Stuff happens. You whiff. You don't always land all your shots. I wanted to make sure this guy could not shoot at me because he was the only one who was 100% sure where I was at that second. I wanted to get some shots on people, but here I am taking out cannons left and right. I'm having an effect on the map. These are potential snipers that could be killing my friends who are not currently killing my friends, right? Don't think you have to get kills to be effective. And here I start taking shots from the right towards C. And I realize, okay, I'm going down here because I've got nothing to guard me from my left and I got people pushing my right. Luckily, teammates deal with the threat immediately in front of me. But now you see me taking shots a lot. There's that laser warning system. I pop smoke and I put on my toe strap like, please, for the love of God, get me out of here. And I continually eat shots. Now bless this teammate, because he did his best to get me out of there. But I've probably eaten 10 shots now, and I'm still alive. Now I've only got 2 crew. My gun's out, my tracks are out, he can't really tell me. But look how many shots I'm taking and not dying. If I was in the Abrams, you know I'd be dead by now. There's no argument. I would be dead by now. We all know the Abrams can't take a hit to save its life, which is really upsetting. But, you know, moving on from that argument for a different day. I pop smoke. I gotta thank this dude, because who does that? Now I'm starting to get some, you know, payments for my assists. I'm knocking out cannon turrets, that's assist. Not the most lucrative thing in the world, but on this map, I don't think you can ask for much more from a tank like this. I think finding a hold down map position, getting in some shots where you can, and surviving is pretty successful for the most of the time on this map. I'm either playing the Ruicat or the XM1 if we're talking about higher tier, and I get one shot almost every single game on this map. This is one of the most rare games for me where I went on this map and didn't immediately die. I usually don't try at all because I hate this map. I don't care. I'm fine just getting out of the game. But on this one, I really want to give it a shot, actually trying not to die right off the bat. And this position was really decent. I can't believe I survived. I mean, I'm being 100% honest with you. I didn't think this tank was capable of taking hits like that. And there I am, taking more hits. I'm still having an effect on the game. Even if you're not killing people, if you're drawing fire like this, that's fire. And it doesn't, especially if it doesn't kill you, right? If you're taking hits and not dying, those are hits other teammates are not taking and not risking dying. This thing can be a good, effective vehicle if used in the right way, and I really think the hold down argument makes sense. The hull is not fantastic, guys. That engine is going to save you, but most likely not your gun, like we talked about earlier. But here, where the turret is the easiest thing for them to shoot, they're going to have to really, really work to get shots on my hull if I have a position like I did up against that ridge. It's really not bad. So here, we just kind of sat back, repaired again, which is honestly what you're going to be doing, a lot of repairing this tank, but it's a lot better than dying. Sometimes. 20-something seconds, 30-something seconds, 40-something seconds, it does tend to add up. But I'm continually scanning, watching my team actually push through the map. And I think if we had done a better job catching off those guys in the initial push, where I whiffed that shot on the Leopard, if the first shot would have killed him, we could have probably gotten a second kill right off the bat and had a huge impact on how the B fight went. The B fight already went in our team's favor, but we could have made that happen a lot faster, getting rid of 2 vehicles right off the bat. And that Leopard was actually in a decent position where he was for trolling guys on B, because they're going to have to look down, and he's already looking up at them. And his team already had C to his side, so he knew that side was relatively clear. He didn't have to worry about it too much. The only thing that was really there to worry about was more towards his front, which was me. And I was actually pinned down for quite a while. So it's interesting dynamics. This tank is not an immediate kill everything tank, although you do have a fantastic shell. Look at that. Juicy. T64 right there. Not even a perfect shot. Good penetration. So you can do some good one-hit shot snipes. But I think you could do really well just getting in a good position and supporting the team across the map, laying down fire, suppressing people, keeping them pinned, keeping their cannon breaches out. I have no problem getting like 10 assists in one game. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, right? Because a win with 5 or 6 assists is a lot better than a loss with 4 kills. It just is. That multiplier is fantastic. I really tried to arc it there. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. But nothing else really happens in this game, guys. We pushed into C. I capped it. Really took advantage of the fact that our team's pushing. They're not all dead, but they're pushing pretty hard. So I took the advantage to go ahead and get myself some points. Since I did get some points for taking so many hits, I did get a couple kills and an assist. But I wanted to get a little more out of this game so that it wasn't kind of wasteful. Pushed in, capped C, didn't die, pushed into their spawn, killed one more person because dirty spawn camping. But that's pretty much it. Otherwise, an uneventful game. But I had fun. I know that wasn't the most exciting gameplay in the world, but I do believe it showed what the tank can do. It can take hits, and it can snipe. It is effective. I enjoy the tank. I want more. I want the Mark IV. And but that's all, pretty much all I've got for you guys. If you made it this far, just so you guys know, I have started a second YouTube channel. I know this one isn't successful, but like, it's a different YouTube channel. It's for my gunsmithing business, which is now official. TBR Gunworks LLC is official. I'll be doing gunsmithing videos on there. I will be doing a podcast, most likely with my wife, covering all kinds of firearm topics. It's really exciting, and unfortunately, this is part of the reason why I can't do YouTube videos all the time for gaming, is because I don't have time. I'm constantly doing stuff to try to get this business going. I graduated college with gunsmithing, so I'm just working really hard to get all that going, and unfortunately I can't put the time into a gaming YouTube channel like I wanted to 2 years ago. But I really appreciate you guys watching. It's still fun to make this content. I just don't have time to do it all the time. So have a great rest of your day, week, month, whatever. Stay safe out there in 2020, and always stay bearded. I'll catch you next time.